right, folks, we're with Marc Krsek over at the Space Coast of Florida. I've been looking at Marc's Facebook page. He goes out with Ricky Banks and a lot of the guys out there on the Space Coast, and these guys just catch monster reds, monster snook. You know, we're going to actually give some, we're going to give a bait away. I think we're going to give away a spoon, an Aqua Dream spoon or something like that. It might even be a lure. I'm not sure what it's going to be. But we had a secret fishing fish word for our show, so that anybody that's a part of the Brevard County fish group that's in Facebook, redfish. I'm telling you right now, I'm looking at Marc's picture. He's got this monster redfish. He's all in the full wrap on here too, so I know it's really hot out there. But he's got this big monster redfish. And I was like, well, you know what? That's going to be the word. So if you remember, that's a closed group. So Rafael Concepcion, I love that name. That's so cool. He's got to approve your membership. And when he does, they're a great group. It's a closed group, so you don't have a bunch of BS coming through there. All kinds of people selling you stuff. Great opportunities to win stuff. So it's a pretty cool group. And Marc has this great picture. You got to check this out. But Marc, I got to ask you, buddy, how you doing this? These are, every time I see you post a picture, it's a big, gigantic redfish. How you doing it, buddy?
Oh, it's our area. We just grow them right over here. We got big boys, and they generally stay inshore. You know, that's their life cycle. You know, they usually don't leave. And I mean, we got a portion of them that do, but for the most part, year round here, you can go sight fish. You know, 30-pound class red and a couple feet of water. So it's just, I mean, it's a very unique fishery, and we're just blessed in this area.
I mean, it is just, you're right, absolutely a blessing. I mean, these are monsters, folks. You really got to always check out Marc's page. It's Marc, it's spelled M-A-R-C-K, well, I'm sorry, M-A-R-C, and his last name is K-R-S-E-K. And you could also go to our website, fishypins.com. On the left side, click on Marc's link. He has his own show there, and then he has a Facebook page link right to his Facebook page from there. And you can see some awesome redfish that he catches. I mean, these guys... He's got photos. He does great stuff with Ricky Banks lures. I think you guys were playing with that Defender Walker when you were out last time, if I'm correct. Is that correct?
We were telling, we threw the new 4-inch flats creeper. It's a little bigger, it's beefier, and it casts a mile. Great bait. And I was also telling the 7-inch Fender Walker out of the chop water. It's a monster plug. And as soon as that thing hit the water, I mean, there was a dozen fish after it. I mean, they come out of their skin to try to inhale that thing. And it's pretty much whatever you throw at these fish that's a Ricky Banks lure, they're going to eat it if it's presented well.
Well, the lures look great. I mean, I've been playing a little bit on top water, and actually I caught my first redfish of my life on top water about 3 weeks ago. And it's just the explosion's incredible. Something about a redfish, I think, because of the way their face is shaped, they kind of got to come up on top of the lure, and it is just an incredible. It's an explosion, and with that, I never realized the value of those big baits, like you're saying, that Fender Walker, the 7-inch lure. I mean, it's incredible how these really big monster reds and monster snook go after those big baits.
And monster trout as well, because a large trout, he's gonna try to eat a big meal in one shot rather than expend a bunch of energy to try to chase down a bunch of little meals for the most part. So when you're throwing a 7-inch topwater, you're not going to get quite as many strikes. But the strikes you do get are going to be from the fish you want.
Sure, the big fish are coming after the big bait. Well, let me ask you the secret to it. You're using a 7-inch bait out there. This is the Fender Walker. How you working that? I mean, are you doing the walk-a-dog? Are you doing slight jerks and creating the darting?
It's a walk-the-dog style lure, and you just throw it out there and you bounce your rod tip just like any walk-the-dog lure, and it's effortless. It does all the work for you, and they just, like I said, they come out of their skin to grab it. We had fish coming completely out of the water, not just sticking their faces up out of the water. They were crashing them like dolphin or crashing mullet. So, it's you can really see the power of this lure. Ricky put out a little clip of a video, and we got reds jumping through the school like mullet trying to get this top water.
Beautiful. Yeah, I saw it. I was looking at it this morning. Beautiful video. And it's amazing. You get that top water explosion. It's like a frenzy. If it's reds, jacks, if they're even snook, you get at night. We've been doing some evening fishing. I went out with a couple of local guys fishing in the evenings, and Bill's like, look, we got to find some lights out here on the water. You get on these seawalls and you find a bright light outside and allow the snook hang out underneath those lights. And, and you do get these big even schools of snook that hang up, on the evenings underneath these lights when they come on. And man, to get that explosion on top water, the fender walker's got to be an awesome bait to use out there, because you're just dealing with huge fish, and to have a bait that really mimics, either a feeding mullet, and I've always believed that the walk the dog on salt water kind of looks like that feeding mullet popping up and down. You know what I mean? It kind of has that thing going.
Yep. The fender walker, it really cuts a nice V weight. And it looks just like a panic mullet on top. It don't know which way to go. And it's also effective. If you do have a lot of bait around, it can sometimes be hard to get a strike on a subsurface lure, because they've got so much bait around that it's like trying to find a needle in a haystack. And when you've got that top water on, it's kind of set apart from the rest of the bait, because what they're looking for is the heated meal. And the top water on top kind of signifies an injured mullet, that was maybe in the school that got hit and got away, and now he's on the top laboring. And in that kind of situation where you've got a ton of bait around, if you throw that top water at him, it's kind of contrast to what's there, and it really stands out.
Yep, I see exactly what you're saying. Well, let me ask you this, Mark. Now, I'm looking at these pictures you took throughout the day, and I see some of them they're bright. You're in the hot part of the day. You're in full wrap here, for sun protection. Are you switching from, morning, evening top water to the flats creeper and the pimpin' shrimp during the day, the hot part? How you guys working that over there?
It really depends. It depends on the mood of the fish. Now, in the middle of the day, if I'm targeting single fish on the flats, I'll probably throw a creeper at them and just kind of try to get it in front of their face. Especially this time of year, you've got to get it in their strike zone, which is dramatically smaller because of the hot water. There's less oxygen in the water, and the fish kind of get a little sluggish on you. So your strike zone goes down to about 2 to 3 feet.
Oh, wow.
And like I said, especially with all the bait around, you got to really make it easy. But when you find fish like we found the other day that were schooled up, it's much easier to get them to hit a top water, because they're in competition at this point. And when they see something getting away, they're like, no, it's mine. No, it's mine. No, it's mine. Well, you've got 10 fighting over it, just because you're taking advantage of the competition factor.
I saw that myself for the first time a couple of weeks ago out there fishing, and you're absolutely right. It seems like they create that frenzy. One of them's got the bait in their mouths, and the other ones want that bait, and they'll actually. And I saw Ricky, he posted one. He caught I'm not sure what fish it was, but I think he had 2 or 3 on one bait. And so they just go nuts over, give me that bait, give me that bait. And yeah, you're right, boy. That's
the fish I hooked on the 7-inch, I wound up busting them off. They broke 50-pound leaders. These fish were so thick.
Oh, wow.
And they were swimming into the line, and that's actually how I lost the fish. But when I could see the fish with the plug in his mouth, there were other fish coming up to that fish, trying to eat the plug out of his mouth after this fish was already hooked.
Incredible. Beautiful, beautiful. Well, how is that? Now, you said you're using the larger flats creeper, the 4-inch now?
Yep. It's a beefier one than I think it's a 3-inch was the original one. You put a little more material in the back, and it casts miles. You've got to use an 8/0 hook, which Ricky sells. He hand molds the weights on them. Great hooks. But like I said, it's really beefy, and it's got a fat profile to it, and the way he molds the weight on the hook, it kind of gives it a little bit of a wobble when you're doing a straight retrieve. And the flash that he puts in the bellies and the color schemes he uses, they really pop off when that lure starts wobbling. And it drives him nuts.
That's a great idea. So he actually has the large hook that comes with the lead weight on it, so it actually acts as a keel. And like you said, that's a great idea, man. He always comes up with great stuff like that. That's a fantastic idea to work the bait right.
He really does his homework. Everything he puts out, it's not willy-nilly. There's a lot of R&D behind everything that Ricky puts out, and he's not going to put out a bait that he's not 100% confident he's going to catch fish.
Well, he's out there doing it. It's, like I said, when you're out there, he's out there with his pro staffers, like in the thick of it and trying the baits out, sweating in the sun. And it's hot out there right now. 95 degrees, boy, it'll burn the hide right off you. So it is some hot, hard work here in the summertime. And the proof's in the pudding. All that hard work paid off. And well, let me ask you more about the pimpin' shrimp. I know he just introduced that a couple of months ago. It's been super successful. I mean, everything I've seen every place is pimpin' shrimp. It's working good. How you guys working that out there? What time of the day? What kind of colors you using? How's that working?
That's the lure that you can pretty much throw any time of day, and you can blind cast with it. But in my opinion, it's most effective to throw at a fish you've seen and try to kind of put it in front of them. And the legs on that thing just drive them nuts. Because if you look at the pimpin' shrimp, it's different from any other shrimp that's really out there. Most of the legs on the other shrimps are on the bottom, but he puts the legs out to the side. So when it's falling, those legs kind of tickle a little bit, and it creates a little bit of a vibration. That's usually the difference, fish coming up and whacking it or ignoring it. I mean, it's kind of got a flat profile to it. So when it's sitting on the bottom, it looks more like the natural strip that they're going to see that's kind of dug in, in the afternoon periods. And when it's sitting on the bottom flat like that, and you're just barely creeping it along, his legs are walking, and it's a killer bait.
Yeah, I could see. I've always liked him when he first introduced them, and actually was out there testing them for a while. They just look beautiful. They have, like you say, that natural ability. It looks like they're holding on to the sand when the current's coming through, and doing that blend in they do with the grass on the bottom. But now this time of year, are you seeing tailing? Are you seeing some of these redfish really coming up and trying to dig up in the evenings and look for the shrimp and the crabs in the grass?
We're seeing them tailing, and they're kind of tailing in two different fashions. Some of them are actually doing the real tailing. They're on the bottom, rooting it up, looking for food. But there's kind of a difference. Sometimes you'll see them tailing, but they're not actually feeding. They're just that close to the surface, and they're that big that their tails are sticking out. You can mistake them for feeding tailing fish, but it's really important to kind of get a read on that as far as what you're going to throw at them. Because if they're on the top like that, you're going to want to fish something, close to the surface. But if they're actually feeding tailing and rooting around, that's when you're going to want to get something on the bottom in front of their face. Because if you throw, say a creeper at them and they're tailing and rooting the bottom, it's just going to buzz right over their head. Sometimes they'll look up and grab it, but most of the times they're so focused on what they're rooting around in the grass, it just goes over their head. So it's good to get a read. Like I said, there's two different ways to tail. And if they're high at the surface, you got to fish high in the water column.
Yep, I see what you're saying. Use the right bait for the right time of day and how they're acting, respond. Yeah, absolutely beautiful. Well, like I said before, look at the pictures. All this works. It's fantastic. Well, how about what's the fishing like over there right now? Well, whereabouts? Where are you going at? Mosquito Lagoon, Banana? Where are you at?
It's you can't get away from these reds. They're everywhere right now. We've also got big trout, and the snook bites have been hot in the inlets and inside Port Canaveral. The usual areas. The big reds, they're schooled up right now, and if you find them in them big schools, they're pretty aggressive. Like I said, they're in competition, and you can find them basically anywhere in our river systems right now if you're looking hard enough. And on the calm days, you can see them from a mile away. On the choppy days, you kind of that's when your reading the water abilities are really going to kick in. But fishing, in the Banana River, the no motor zone's got a lot of fish in it right now. Up in the North Indian River, you're doing well. Mosquito Lagoon, the whole Mosquito Lagoon is doing great for both slot fish and big fish. Like I say, you really can't get away from them right now.
Well, the snook season's here on us. How you doing with snook? Where are you looking for them? Any luck up there?
I haven't gone out after any snook yet because we kind of get that mad rush as the season opens and everybody wants to snook. So the first half of September they're usually getting hammered. And I kind of try to slide in, toward the end where the madness dies down a little bit. But like I say, they're in the rivers, they're in the inlets, they're off the surf, Right outside the surf break is doing great right now. The mullet have kind of started running. We got that little tropical storm that passed by a couple weeks ago, and we got a 3 or 4 day north blow out of it. And it was kind of like a mock cold front, and it got these mullets on the move. I don't know if this is the actual run or what, but they're, like I say, they're schooled up tight and they're off the beach. They're in the inlets, and the game fish are right behind them.
Beautiful. So you're looking for that bait that's running, and you're finding the fish on the bait. Well, I'll tell you what, Mark, that sounds great. It's, if you're out on the Space Coast, folks, you really got to hook up with these guys. You get local, you find out about the fishing. If you're in Facebook, well, you can go to bankslures.com, check out anything that you want to about Banks Lures. There's information about Mark over there. You can go to his Facebook page. Just look up Marc Krsek, and it's M-A-R-C, and the second name is K-R-S-E-K. Or you can go to fishyfins.com, click on his link on the left, and go right into his Facebook page from there. Really great stuff. I mean, you really got to pay attention. Get to the Brevard County Fishing Group. Really Raphael.
Definitely check out that page. We do a lot of things. We do a lot of giveaways. We've got tournaments in the works. We did a tournament about a month ago, and it was I think we had 50-something anglers, which for a first-time tournament, that wasn't bad. Everybody had fun. It was a great time, and we're going to be doing more tournaments in the future. For members of the page. And we've got a lot of things in the works over there for the Brevard County Fishing Reports page.
Well, it is. It's great. It is a closed group. We put a link on our website, so you can just click on and go in. Sometimes when you're in Facebook and you type in fishing reports or Brevard County, could end up with 1,000 different things. But we put a link right from our page going right into it. It's Raphael Concepcion. I love that name. He's the guy that administers the site. And it sounds like a big movie producer from Jamaica, Raphael Concepcion. I love it. And so great information, great support page too. Just everyday people in there. Some great guys like Mark in there that are pro staffers giving out great advice about fishing the local areas, Brevard County. It really extends beyond Brevard County, but it does focus mainly in Brevard County there. So great group. You got to get in there and join it. And it takes no time. As soon as Raphael sees your request, he'll check it out, make sure you're not some guy trying to sell, some stupid stuff, and you come, and it's a great group to be in. But hey, bud, I sure do appreciate it, Mark. This is just great stuff, great report, and tell Mr. Ricky Banks that we sure appreciate all his support and input, the video, the photos. It's just great stuff you guys have out there.
Definitely, and if you want to take a charter with Rick, if you go to www.shallowwatersecrets.com, you can get Rick, you can book him. There's also a link to the Banks Lure page on there. Rick does the skiff work, and I'm also doing, kayak charters and instructional kayak and paddlecraft classes, and I can also be found on the Shallow Water Secrets site. Definitely check that out. And that's it, man.
That's great stuff, Mark. I sure appreciate it, bud. Man, you guys get out there, do some fishing, and stay safe. And, we're definitely looking forward to seeing the photos, the video, and all the great reports, bud.
Yes, sir.
Hey, you have a great day out there.
You do the same, buddy.